Hello, if you're watching this, you are ready to do a line painting, and we're going to talk about different kinds of line. In art, we use a big word. We say variety. Variety is basically just all the different kinds of line we know that are out there that we can use in our artwork. You will need today a white piece of paper. Mine is 9 by 14 and I have it vertical. 9 by 12 is just fine too, but you want to keep that vertical. You will need a black crayon. You also can use a black Sharpie if you don't have a black crayon. You also will need a set of watercolor paints. If you are a virtual learner and you do not have watercolor paint at home, one option would be crayons or markers to add color. We'll be doing that a little later. And if you do have paints, you will need water and a brush. So let's start. This is a draw along with me project, and so as we're drawing along, if you feel like you need to pause, do your thing and then unpause it, that's just fine. I'll try not to go too fast. So the very first thing we're going to do is draw a straight line. Straight lines are easy. We all know what straight lines are. So at the top of my paper, I'm going to use my black crayon. I'm going to press really hard, and I'm going to draw a straight line. There's my straight line. I'm going to go back over it so it's nice and dark. So another kind of line that I really enjoy drawing is a curved line. One big curve. It's kind of touching my other line a little bit. So go ahead and draw a curved line. Next, I'm going to do a wavy line. Looks like the ocean. Looks like ocean waves. Right underneath the wavy line, I'm going to do one of my favorites, a zigzag line. The zigzag line reminds me of the back of a dragon or sharp teeth or mountains. A zigzag line. After that zigzag line, we're going to do a dotted line. A dotted line is like if you start to draw a line and a dot jumps. It makes a line of dots. And a dotted line takes a little while, so you may want to pause the video here to finish your dotted line. After the dotted line, I'm going to do a curly line, or some kids call this a loop-de-loop line. It goes in loops and loops and loops. After our loopy line, let's do a bouncy line. I also call this a Tigger line because it looks like, I think about when Tigger bounces, he bounces and bounces and bounces. So we have straight, curvy, wavy, zigzag, dotted, curly, bouncy, and now we're going to do a broken line. Broken line is like a straight line broken up in little pieces. It looks like that line that goes down the middle of the road. And then after that, the last line we do is going to be the hardest line I show you. So I just want you to try. I call this a castle top line. It goes over, up, over, down, over, up, over, down. Some kids call this a pumpkin tooth line. Just like that. So go ahead, and if you need to rewind this or if you've paused it, make sure you have all of your lines, and in just a moment I'm going to show you how to add color. And welcome back for part 2 of our lines painting. You probably will notice I'm wearing a different shirt and I'm in a different room, so we can do part 2 together. So you should have gone through and with me drawn all of these different kinds of lines. And remember, the word that we use for that is variety of line. Now we're going to add color. At the beginning of this lesson, I told you you would need some kind of paint like watercolor, and you can use watercolor. If you have another kind of paint or a little thicker paint like tempera paint, you could use that. We have these in the art room. They're called Biggie Cakes. They are tempera cakes. So you could use either one of these kinds of paints today. I'm going to use the Biggie Cakes today because I pressed really hard with my crayon, so they should work great. And you'll need a bucket of water. And again, if you are an at-home learner and you don't have paint at all, one thing that you could use would be watered down. You could use water with some food coloring. That might work really well. You also could do this project and add the color with crayons. So you could do your lines with black crayons and then add in between those lines, like I'm doing right now, with crayons. Or if you do your black lines with a marker or a Sharpie, then you could color in between the lines with a Sharpie. So I'm just painting right in between each line that I drew. You can paint any color you want, except I don't think black would be a good choice, and you can probably guess why. If you drew with black lines and then you paint with black paint, no one's going to see your beautiful lines, and that's kind of the whole point of this project, is for everybody to see all of the variety of lines that you use. So I'm going to get some purple next. I'm going to paint this purple. Now I'm going in between each line, but you'll notice because I pressed so hard with my black crayon, the paint isn't going to stick to my black crayon. Even this thick temper paint, I can still see my black crayon through it. And I'm going to wash my brush really good in between each color. That's really important. Do orange next. I'm just picking one color between each one, and then if I want to repeat colors, I can. And this is a lovely yellowish orange, I think. So you're going to do that until you get all the way down to the bottom of your picture. So you have all different colors in between your lines. Couple of things I want you to notice. I'm painting gently back and forth, and I'm washing my brush out gently. You don't ever want to do this with your brush. I call that giving your brush a bad hair day. It really will end up ruining the brush if you do that all the time. If your brush starts to do that on its own, it might be because you don't have enough paint or you don't have enough water on your brush. And if that's the case, you just have to put it back in the water, get more paint. Also, again, I'm going to point out that every time I change a color, I wash my brush really, really well, because we want to keep this paint set nice and neat and not mixed up. So I'm going to continue painting, and I will show you what this looks like when it's all done. So here is my line painting all finished. I've painted it all the way down. It's really bright colored, and I can see all those varieties of different kinds of line that I've practiced drawing and that you're going to practice drawing too. When you're done, sign your name on the bottom. You could sign your name on the bottom with the black crayon before you paint, and the paint will not cover up your name, or wait till it's dry and then put your name on it. My in-person learners, you're going to want to put your name on it first or on the back. So when you put this on the drying rack, you'll know it's yours. Have fun with this. When you're done, take a picture, post it to your Make a Dot Create activity in Seesaw or Dojo. I can't wait to see what you do.